Hello everyone, welcome to our live cookery demo with cook expert Magimix. My name is Christine Bailey, I'm a nutritionist and a chef, and I'm today going to show you how to make one of my family's favourite light and flavoursome recipes. If you're looking for something light, healthy and really packed with sort of Asian flavours, this is definitely the recipe for you. I'm going to be showing you how to make an Asian broth with prawn dumplings, and then we're going to accompany that with a lovely lime tangy Asian salad. So welcome everyone. I know some of you are just joining us. Do post in the comments, let me know where you are and whether you've got a cook expert. So let's get started. Just to remind you that when you buy your cook expert, you get one of the metal bowls and you get the food processor. You get one of the bases. Now I'm lucky today, I've got two bases obviously, because I'm going to be changing between the food processor and the metal bowl. But just to make it clear, when you get your cook expert, you do get a metal bowl and you get the whole food processor. And this I use an awful lot, that's for sure. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the food processor. Now, when you get your food processor, you actually get three bowls. The small bowl, which we're going to be using a bit later for our dressing, a midi bowl, and also the large bowl. And what I'm going to show you first is how to make the prawn dumplings. So this accompanies our soup, our broth. It's a really, really easy recipe, but it's great because with the metal blade, the big metal blade, this will cut through pretty much any meat or fish that you want. So you can use this same recipe with a lot of other ingredients. So we're going to use the food processor. We're going to use the large blade. And this is a very simple dumpling recipe. It's not like traditional dumplings, which they're often very stodgy, very heavy. This is not that at all. So what I've got here is 300 grams of raw prawns. Now, if you can't get hold of fresh prawns, you can use the frozen raw prawns, just defrost them obviously first. So those are going straight into the food processor. Now, obviously, if you don't like prawns, you could switch this to, say, cod or white fish would be absolutely delicious. Or you could actually, instead of the prawn dumplings, what you could do is use lamb mince, turkey mince, beef mince, and make almost small little Asian meatballs. And you could use those in the broth as well. So you can vary this. And of course, the blade will cut through all those sort of, the mince and so on. So if you want to, you could switch this to a meat option. Now, I'm going to just add a little bit of extra flavour. I've got in here a spring onion and some raw, fresh ginger. So that's going in. And I'm going to blitz this first, and then we're just going to add a couple of other ingredients. Now, when you switch on your cook expert, you'll notice that when you've got the food processor in place, it will actually tell you that you've got your food processor. So you don't need to worry about that. We're just going to press auto, and it's going to blitz up. And you can see how quick that is going to blitz everything up. So if you were using mince, you would just use 300 grams of a turkey mince or a beef mince and do exactly the same thing. Then what we're going to do is I've got here a little bit of egg white. That just helps to bind it together. And when we actually put these dumplings in the broth, it helps them to keep moist and to sort of swell up slightly. And then to help bind it, I've got here just a tablespoon of arrowroot, or you could use corn flour. So they're just often used as thickeners anyway. They're gluten-free naturally, so great if you're catering for someone who's gluten-free. And it creates a lighter texture than just ordinary flour. So again, what we're going to do is just press auto. It already knows we're on food processor, and it's just going to blitz that up for us. And what you're looking for is quite a sort of moist mixture. You want a little bit of texture, but what we'll be doing is dropping this into the broth once the broth is ready and prepared. So I'm using the spatula that comes with the food processor. So you actually get two spatulas, one which we use a lot for really getting into the metal bowl, and this one which is really good for getting everything out of your food processor. Now at this point, you could have prepared this in advance. So what I often actually do is in the morning, if I'm just trying to get a few things ready for the evening, is I will make the dumpling mixture, put it into a small bowl, and then just chill it. And this means that when you are ready to cook, you know, when you've got a really busy day and you want to cook from scratch, but you haven't got a lot of time, this will take you very little time to prepare. So you can get that done in advance, cling it, chill it. Same if you were doing meatballs. So that thing you can do very, very quickly, get it all sorted. The other thing that you can also do, and this is what I do a lot of, is prepare your base, which is a tom yum paste. This is a traditional Asian type paste. It's quite tangy. It's got some lovely flavours in. So the basis of the tom yum paste is lemongrass, and that gives it a really light flavour, ginger, and kaffir lime leaves, which you can get in most supermarkets now. Now, if you're someone who would often, you know, naturally go to a supermarket and get a curry paste or a Thai paste, you don't need to. When you've got the metal bowl, when you've got your Cook Expert, you can make any paste, whether it's wet or dry, that you want. And this week I've been making quite a few different pastes. It's been warm weather here, so we've actually had the barbecue out, and I've made a couple of dry curry pastes. And I've actually used the metal bowl just to whiz that through. And what's really nice, I made a really nice shawarma paste, which is sort of coriander, cumin, a bit of nutmeg, cinnamon. And you can grind everything up very, very quickly. Now, what's good about that is, one, it makes you much more inventive in your cooking. It saves you money, and you can get ahead, because you can make these pastes and then just keep them chilled in the cupboard or the fridge, depending on what type of paste it is. So the basis of this curry paste, and I'm going to make more than I would need just for this broth. And what I tend to do is store it in the fridge. You could freeze it as well, so you can put it in little ice cubes and freeze it. And you can use it for all sorts of soups, broths, marinades, stir fries. So the basis is lots of coriander. And you don't, again, because we're going to blitz this up, don't need to worry about stalks, just throw everything in. An onion, that's going in as well. And then we've got the flavourings. Now, it is quite a spicy, tom yum paste is quite spicy. So I've actually got here 3 chilies, red chilies. Now, I have taken the seeds out, because otherwise it will be really fiery. I've got kaffir lime leaves here, about 3 kaffir lime leaves, a whole lemongrass stalk, ginger and garlic, and that really creates a wonderful, flavoursome, quite light but very flavoursome broth. And then we've got our liquids here. So I've got a little bit of olive oil, about a tablespoon of olive oil. That just helps to blend it up, but also preserves it when you put it in the fridge. 2 tablespoons of lime juice, 2 tablespoons of fish sauce, and then I like to add either a little bit of maple syrup or honey, or I use xylitol, which is a sort of lower sugar sweetener. And again, you've got that nice sweet sour tang. So that all goes in. So all the ingredients just go straight in. That's all you need to do. And then with the Cook Expert, you get 13 automatic programs. So if you want to make pastry, bread, cakes, you want to whip up egg whites, for example, you've got pre-programs here. But what I'm actually going to do is use what's called the sort of manual section. And the manual section is called Expert Mode, and it comes up when you press it. So I'm just going to press OK. Now, you can use heat, but I just want to blitz this up. So I'm just going to gradually switch it on, but I'm going to gradually increase the speed. And what that does is, as I increase the speed, I'm going to gradually blitz it up to form a nice fine paste. You see it goes very, very fast. Now you won't need long, but what you might need to do is a couple of times, and what I'm going to do is use the spatula and just scrape, because you can see the lovely juices on the lid. So I'm just going to scrape that down. But what you might find, I won't actually, because it's really blitzed it up so quickly. But sometimes what you might want to do is just use your spatula, just press the mixture back into the middle of the bowl and then just whiz it up for another few seconds. I don't need to. I'm going to show you what that looks like. This is the flavour is wonderfully light. It's very, very light, very, very tangy. And I just want to show you what it looks like. The nice thing about this mixture is that it will actually keep in the fridge for a couple of weeks easily. You've got a little bit of oil in there as well. You've got some acid in there. That helps to preserve it. So I often will use this in a whole range of different recipes, marinades, stir fries and so on. And you can see this is some of the stuff that I've been using for my barbecue this week. And I just keep it in the fridge in one of these sort of chilled little jars. And, you know, if you want to make it, this one I've added some extra tomato puree because I was using it to actually marinate chicken and then barbecue it. But you can just vary the ingredients depending on what you've got. But let me just show you. I'm just going to pour this in. And you can see the lovely, I don't know if you can see here in the bowl as well, how easily that has blitzed up. So that was what, 10, 15 seconds, if that. And the nice thing is that you could use this same technique, just gradually increase the speed for all sorts of curry paste, Thai paste. My kids love Asian food generally, and I will often be making, you know, katsu curries and things like that as well. And all of it you can make from scratch with the Cook Expert. So that's your curry paste. So that is the base of the tom yum soup. And that's what's really going to give it a lovely light flavour. So it's perfect for this time of year. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to start off the broth, and then I'm going to show you how to do in the food processor the lovely Asian salad that goes with it. And actually the Asian salad could be a main course anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to blitz up. I've got one whole red pepper in here, so I've just taken out the seeds, a couple of spring onions. That just keeps it nice and light and flavoursome. And again, what we're going to do is we're using the metal bowl. We're going to use the Expert mould. And you'll see it comes up with the Expert mould. So I'm just going to take down the speed, because I certainly don't want that sort of speed. And all I'm actually going to do this time is I'm going to pulse it, because what I am going to be doing later is cooking it further, and it will mix it as it cooks. So I just want to quickly chop up the red pepper in particular. Now the great thing is you've got a glass lid here, so you can look through and you can just chop it up according to how much you want it. So keep it fairly coarse. You don't want it too fine. You want lots of texture. So it's just going to be 1 or 2 little presses and it's done like that. Perfect. So that's the vegetables chopped. And you can use this same tactic actually for all sorts of risottos, curries, stews. You can easily prepare your veg by just putting it in, pulsing it to the level that you want, and then you can start cooking. So you don't need to start chopping and doing all sorts of things with the chopping board. It goes straight into the metal bowl. Now we're actually going to start heating. So the basis of the broth is actually coconut milk. And with the sort of lime and the tangy ginger and lemongrass, that makes a lovely combination because it's light, but it's still got that creaminess. So the coconut milk is going in. Now that's actually 2 cans of coconut milk. If you do want it lighter, just pick the lighter versions of the canned coconut milk rather than the full fat. And then for a little bit of colour and flavour, I've got in here 1 tablespoon of, now I'm using tamari soy sauce. That's because it's gluten-free and I'm celiac, so it's gluten-free. And ½ teaspoon of turmeric, which gives it that lovely colour. Plus turmeric's a great anti-inflammatory, so I'm always sticking that in my food anyway. And then again with your spatula, because you chopped up that veg, just press it down. It's perfectly designed to sort of get into the all the little cracks there, so that's wonderful. And then we are going to heat it. So this is where the Cook Expert really comes into its own, because it's an induction hob. So it's very, very quick. It's very, very responsive. And you can control the temperature very, very quickly and easily. So we're going to put it onto expert mode. So again, it comes on to expert. Now, I'm actually going to take it up to probably about 6 minutes or so. So again, you've got these plus and minus buttons, and you can just select the time that's right for you. Now, in terms of speed, you have a whole range of speeds, and there are 2. One is 1A and one is 2A, and they're alternating. What that means is it's a bit like you standing over a pot and gradually stirring from time to time. So you stir for a bit, then you stop and you stir for a bit. This takes all the hassle out because it's going to do that for you. So in terms of the speed, I'm going to put it on 1A. So that means it will stir it, but it's not going to stir and break and chop everything up. And then temperature, and this is where it really comes into its own. I want to get this up to 120 degrees C. And it will very quickly get up to that temperature. And within that 5-10 minutes, 6 minutes, you will see that it will start steaming because the induction is so responsive. The other nice thing about the Cook Expert and the temperature control is precision, because you can actually control the temperature to 1 degree. I mean, that's how very sensitive it is. So when I'm making things like I'm melting chocolate, I'm making candies or toffee or fudge or jam or marmalade, anything where you need very, very precise temperature control, this is ideal for that. It takes all the guesswork out of it. And, you know, you can do things like you can cook rice in this. I mean, you do get a steamer as well with this, but I will often just put the rice and the boiling water in the base, bring it up to a simmer, and then I will just leave it alone. So again, for things where you want precise timing, you want precise temperature, this is absolutely ideal for you. So while that's doing its thing, I'm going to show you how to start the salad. And this is an amazing, I would say it's actually a main course salad. So I'm using a clean bowl, obviously, as we had raw prawns in that one. And this time, what I'm actually going to do is use the grating and the slicing blades. So when you get your food processor, you get 4 different blades. You get 2 slicing and 2 grating, different sizes. And the first thing we're going to do is I'm actually going to start off by, I'm using the slightly wider grater, the 4mm, to grate the carrots. So if you are someone, and it is, hopefully the weather is going to keep up with us and it's going to be wonderful, you like making coleslaw, this is perfect for you because it takes all the hard work out of everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grate the carrots, and then I'm going to slice some red onion and red pepper. So what I'm going to do is just press this in. Now, we have a safety lock here, so this one is in place. You have 2 chutes, and this one will help to keep it safe. So as we press down, you can see how quickly that will grate for us. So again, if you're making, you know, if you love salads, but you don't want to do all that manual prep, this is perfect for you. And this is something that I make use of all the time. I will often also use things like courgettes in salads, but also if you're someone that likes pancakes and fritters, you could grate up a load of carrots or courgette, beat it with some eggs, a little bit of flour, and you can make some really, really lovely little light and fluffy fritters. So grating mode, brilliant. Cheese, beetroot salad. I've done a beetroot salad this week. Even if you want to grate ingredients for adding, say, to burgers or meatballs or something like that, it's also very useful. I find it very useful personally. If I'm, for example, wanting to use up leftover veg and you just want to use up that old carrot or broccoli or whatever, you can just blitz it up in your food processor, eat it raw in a salad, perfect. So the next blade I'm going to use is actually one of the slicing blades. And again, very, very useful when, you want to use up certain ingredients in the fridge. It's ideal for that. So I'm just going to take off the extra carrot there. Take off my blade. Let me just put that down. And again, I'm going to put this straight in here because we're all going to just put it into the salad afterwards. Now, red onion, lovely and sweet, great for salads, and some red pepper. So again, if you don't like julienning, peppers and so on for stir fries or salads, use the food processor because the slicing blades are brilliant for that. So again, you're already on your food processor mode. It always will recognise that you're in the food processor, and we're just going to slice it through. So you can, obviously vary these salad ingredients depending on what you've got available in the fridge. But this is quite a nice, colourful, it's like a rainbow salad, but it will have a really lovely light oil-free dressing with it, which is really sort of very light lime flavoured, tangy, sweet and sour, which I will show you in a bit. So once you've prepared your veg for the salad, what I've got in here, I have got some mange tout. They don't really need any prep. And then what I have done is I've de-seeded a cucumber. I don't like the seeds in the salad because it just makes it a bit soft. So take the seeds out, just slice up your cucumber. But again, whatever veg you've got, just use up what you've got in your fridge. So I'm just going to put that to one side. And then we're just going to put the rest of this for now, and then I'll show you the rest of the salad in a minute. But you can see how lovely and colourful that is. And that was actually only 2 carrots. It's not a lot, but it makes a huge amount of salad. And the nice thing is that at this stage, you could again prepare this in advance because we haven't added the dressing yet. This is quite a robust salad. There's no leafy greens in this, so this will actually keep. If you wanted to make this a few hours ahead, you could. So I'll show you the rest of that salad in a minute. You've heard the noise. This has just finished, and already I can feel that it's lovely and hot. Now remember, this is also a thermal insulated bowl, which means that once you've cooked your broth, it's actually going to keep hot for quite a while, which is perfect, again, if you've got people coming round and you want to just get ahead. So that's another great, it's insulated. It's a really nice way of being able to prepare things well in advance. So that's the first part of the broth. It's now nice and hot and steamy. What I want to do, although it's got some red pepper in there, I want to actually add some more veg. So I've got here, this is pak choy, but any greens that you've got. So the pak choy is going in, and you just pile it all in, because we're going to mix this briefly again. I've got in here bamboo shoots, that's just a can. So again, great way of using up things in the cupboards. And then some bean sprouts and some shiitake mushrooms, one of my favourites. And again, we're going to just put this on for a couple of minutes, just really to mix up the veg. So we're going to use, I'm just going to give that a little bit of a wipe there. So we're going to use, again, we're going to still use our expert mode. I'm going to take this up probably just for 2 minutes. That's all we're going to need, really. And we're going to keep it at 1A, and we're also going to keep the temperature there. So what this will do is it will just stir that vegetable through so it mixes it into the broth without chopping it up, because I want lots of texture, as well as obviously the creamy flavour of the broth as well. While that's doing 2 minutes, I want to show you one of my really easy tips. If you are someone who loves fresh herbs, but don't really like chopping and all that sort of thing, this is simple. So I will often use the small bowl, which has its own small blade, very, very powerful, for just preparing spices and herbs. And if you've got, maybe you've bought a whole bag of herbs and you only actually want a few of those, and you don't want to waste it. What you can do is chop it up really finely in the food processor and then just put them in ice cube trays and freeze them. And then you've got herbs ready for when you want to just add a little bit of extra flavour to a salad or a pasta dish or a rice dish. So all I'm going to do is just blitz this all up. And this really adds a lot of flavour to the salad, particularly mint. So what I've got in there is mint and coriander, just a big handful of both. And this really makes quite a difference to the salad. So, the flavour, I love mint. If you ever just want to jazz up any salad or rice dish, just whiz in a load of fresh herbs, but particularly for me, for mint. So that is going in. You see how lovely and fine that is. Now, I'm not going to clean this out particularly because I'm going to use this again to make the dressing in a minute. But the herbs make such a difference to the salad. So again, make use of each part of your food processor, because honestly, once you start getting used to using it, you'll wonder what you did without it. With the small one, I will often add in, say, a whole bag of parsley, blitz it up, maybe with a little bit of lemon zest or lemon juice to make almost like a gremolata. I will keep that in the fridge for a few days. I will use it over fish, chicken, even things like we eat a lot of vegan dishes, so tofu, things like that. Stir it through rice dishes, stir it through pasta dishes. So again, this is a very, very easy way of really just jazzing up a dish and making it full of flavour and full of health benefits as well. So that's had another 2 minutes. All that's really done is it's just mixed up my vegetables and just heated those through. Now, the last bit, because you see how quick and easy this is, I'm just going to add the dumplings. Now, because this is quite a moist mixture, what you actually do is you use a teaspoon. So you're not rolling these up. Now, if you were going to use, say, turkey mince or beef mince, then yes, you would roll it into a small little meatball and you would drop it in. But with fish or prawns, you're just going to take a small teaspoon and you're going to just place it right into the liquid, into the broth. And what these will do is, as they then cook in the broth, so really sort of dip your spoon right down into the broth and just place them so that they are covered in your liquid. And what happens is we're going to then cook it for another 5 minutes. As we do, they will swell up and they will cook. And you'll get these really lovely, light, fluffy prawns and little dumplings. Now, if you wanted to use meat, what I would say is I'm only going to cook these for about 5 minutes because this is prawns. It really won't need very long. But if you were going to switch this for meatballs, I would say increase the time to about 8 or 9 minutes, depending on the size of the little meatballs. But you don't want huge meatballs anyway. And then it will be ready to serve. Also at this time, now this, as you've probably worked out, it's very high in protein. It's packed with vegetables, so it's got the protein, it's got the flavour, it's got the fibre, it's got the antioxidants. It's fairly low in carbs, which is great for me because I'm always encouraging my clients to go slightly lower carb. But say you really want some extra carb, you could at this stage add in some cooked noodles, or what I do is I make use of the spiralizer that you can get for your Cook Expert. And I use a spiralizer all the time. And what I'll do is maybe spiralize a couple of courgettes. And at this point, when I'm doing the dumplings, I'll add those as well. And then you get these wonderful vegetable noodles. And you can do that with a whole range of vegetables. You could even do it with potatoes. So sweet potato, carrots, butternut squash, beetroot, courgettes. Probably wouldn't do beetroot with this because you might end up with a weird colour. But you can spiralize pretty much any hard vegetable, quite frankly. And that makes a really good addition to this as well. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the time. We're going to do 5 minutes, and in that time I will make the dressing for the salad, and then everything will be ready. But this time, instead of 1A, I'm not going to have any speed at all, because all I want to do is just simmer the the dumplings. I just want to simmer those so that they cook. And at 120, this is quickly going to come back up to a simmering temperature. Those dumplings are going to cook in that broth, and then it's done. So really you can see from start to finish, that is a very, very quick and easy recipe, especially when we're doing it from scratch, from using your own homemade tom yum paste. I mean, it's a very, very easy recipe. So let's just finish off with our dressing. This is one of my favourite dressings. If you want to jazz up any rice dish, any pasta dish, even, you know, you've steamed a load of veg and you just need to jazz it up, use this dressing. It is wonderful and very, very simple. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm using the small bowl. The blade is very, very good at whizzing up things. I've got here, this is spicy, so I've got here 2 chilies. I have de-seeded them. Now, I want it to be sweet and sour. So I've got here I'm actually using xylitol, but you could use any sugar. So coconut sugar, regular sugar, 2 to 3 tablespoons. Ginger, garlic, lemongrass again. So that sort of same flavour is going through all of these recipes. Very light, very summery actually. And I'm going to blitz this up, and because we're going to add it straight into the salad, I'm not worried about the fact that I've still got those herbs in there, because actually that will just add more flavour. And then I'm just going to blitz that up so that the red chilli and the lemongrass is really blitzed up. And this won't take very long at all. That's the real beauty, actually, of the small blade, especially when you don't necessarily want to make huge amounts of anything. You know, if you're on your own or you just want to cook for 1 or 2 people and you don't want to create too much, the small bowl is perfect for that. So again, for dressings, for sauces, mayo, and you can do a really nice vegan mayo, which we did last time. You know, I would tend to use the small bowl there. So it's chopped up my red pepper, my red chilies, the garlic, the lemongrass, very, very simply. And then the dressing, the base of the dressing is actually a combination of lime juice and fish sauce. So I've got here 6 tablespoons of lime juice, and 3 tablespoons of fish sauce, so half the amount really. So if you want to increase it, you can. So there's no oil in this at all, which makes it really lovely and light and summery as well. And all I'm going to do is I often will use jars like this just to have so that I've got them in the fridge. And I'm just going to scrape all the mixture into, and you could use a jam jar to be honest, which is what a lot of people do anyway. And again, this will keep in the fridge for several days. I have been known to make up this, and for one of my sons who absolutely loves Asian food, to pour most of it over his salad. So if you're trying to encourage your teenage children to eat more veg, these sort of salad dressings are absolutely perfect. It's a really good way of jazzing up any salad or steamed veg. So just give it a shake, and then it's ready to pour over your salad. Now, what I tend to do, and I'm just going to move this out of the way so I can show you. One thing you can do is, this is quite a robust salad, so you could dress this probably about half an hour before you want to serve it. I would say if you were using lettuce leaves or spinach leaves in this, I would probably dress it just before serving. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it over, and then I'm just going to toss it through. The flavours are amazing. And this is what's so lovely about using the Cook Expert, is that, you know, you can create really healthy, very light and flavoursome dishes with very little fuss at all. And it means that you can be more adventurous, you're cooking much more from scratch as well. And the colours and the flavours in this are just wonderful. And so, you know, if the weather is good and you're doing some al fresco style of eating, this is a really, really perfect dish for you. Now, if you want to, you could then scatter over some, I quite like, because this is a very Asian style dish, I quite like scattering over just a few roasted peanuts. You could add some extra spring onion to this as well. So I'm just going to, what I'm going to do is actually just plate this up so you can see it and you can hear that this is all done. So just on cue, my dumplings are ready. So let me just take some of this lovely salad and just pile. You can see the colours, so you could vary this according to the ingredients, but this is such a light and flavoursome salad. But equally, this could be a main course. All you really need to add to this is some protein of your choice, and that could be, for example, some pan-fried tofu, maybe a can of chickpeas for a vegan option, or some cooked chicken, or some cooked prawns, for example. And that would be a really fabulous, healthy summer meal. This also actually works really well because it's fairly robust as a packed lunch. So if you are commuting, you could actually make this up the night before, put it in a Tupperware and take it with you. So that's our lovely tangy salad. And then, oh wow, the flavours are just amazing. Now what I'm going to do, just to show you what it's like, I'm going to take it off and then I'm going to spoon it into a bowl as well, just so that you can see. But I'm hoping that you can see. You see that lovely colour? That's the turmeric. It just gives it such a light, colourful, summery flavour. And then I'm just going to ladle in some of the broth and the dumplings. And I'm just going to hopefully show you how light and flavoursome those dumplings are, because they really do swell up when you cook this. And then what you can do is just scatter over some extra, maybe some spring onion, maybe some coriander. There we go. So hopefully you can see this, but this is, let me just move that slightly. This is our fabulous Asian broth with our tom yum paste from scratch with our delicious prawn dumplings. And I'm just going to get a little spoon. I just want to spoon out there. Can you see that lovely prawn dumpling? They're just so lovely and light. It's an amazing, wonderful, healthy dish. So there we have our fabulous Asian broth with prawn dumplings, loads of veg, and our delicious Asian lime salad. And I just want to thank you all for joining us on this fabulous cookery demo. We've got more planned in the future, so please stay tuned. And let us know if you make these dishes. I really hope you enjoy them. They're my family favourites and they're full of flavour and nourishment. So thank you everyone, and hopefully we'll see you all soon.